Is evolution scientific or faith-based? Find out in today's Scientific Saturday. Thanks for joining us. Alrighty, so we are going into evolution. Now, there's actually 6 parts to evolution, and a lot of this we don't normally think about when we think of evolution. But the first part of evolution is called cosmic evolution, where it's the origin of space, time, and matter. The Trinity of Trinities, everything around us. Where did it all come from? And cosmic evolution can't answer the question of how did it come to be? We know that space, time, and matter all have to be in existence at the same exact point. If you had matter but no space, where would you put the matter? If you have matter but no time, when would you put the matter? So, a big issue with cosmic evolution is the origin. How would this ever happen? And if you can't answer any of the behind the scenes how, or even we've never seen this, that means we've never observed it. If you have not observed it and you cannot observe it, then this is faith-based, not scientific. You have to be able to observe it or experiment, these kind of things, to actually call it science. Number 2 is called chemical evolution, where we see the origin of higher elements from hydrogen. Do you really think that uranium evolved from hydrogen? There's a lot of people that think this whole concept that all the elements, hydrogen came from the stars and then it all evolved into other things. Well, that brings up the question, which came first? The stars to make the elements, or the elements to make the stars, because it takes hydrogen to make the stars. Again, not observable. If it's not observable, not experimental, then it's not scientific, it's faith-based. Number 3, the third type of evolution is called stellar or planetary evolution, where we see the origin of stars and planets. And this is, again, not something that can be provable or observable. We, every once in a while, see a little flicker in our telescopes, and there's people who say, oh, that's the birth of a new star. Well, first off, it's never been proven. And so if you can't prove it, you can't really observe what is going on. There's many different explanations for the flickers. So we can't say that this is actually science. This takes faith to believe that this flicker is actually a planet or a star being born. Number 4 is organic evolution, or the origin of life. And science doesn't even come close to explaining the origin of life. How can life come from non-life? How can a rock turn into a living organism? And it's never been seen. It can't be repeated. Therefore, this is not scientific. This is faith-based. Number 5, the 5th type, is called macroevolution, or the changing from one kind to another kind. We never see dogs become cats. We never see fish become birds. These aren't observable things. Therefore, this is a faith-based product, not a scientific product. The last one, I disagree with the term, but I'm going to use it because that's what most people observe, most people recognize. It's called microevolution, or variations within a kind. And this is the one part of the 6 parts of evolution that we do actually see. It is observable, where we see in nature, we see birds changing and beaks starting to get slightly longer so that they can get at this food source. These are things we have actually seen. We can create it with breeding of animals and breeding different leg size, leg length into them and things like that. So these are actually observable, but the other 5 are not observable. They are faith-based. And here's the issue, is that I, as a Christian, am willing to admit that my religion is faith-based. There is a ton of evidence and a ton of support behind why it is correct, Christianity, but there involves some faith to it, because we can't observe the creation of it. We can't repeat it. But the problem is that many people in the scientific community look at evolution as fact and not as faith. But it can't be observed, it can't be repeated, therefore it takes faith to believe it. And honestly, I think it takes more faith to believe that nothing created everything we see than it is for you and I to believe that someone so intelligent, so much greater than the creation, could actually step in and make something that is so intricately designed. We won't go too deep into it right now, but all of the intricacies of the cell, all of the intricacies of all of life, of information. Where would information come from? We've never seen information evolve. We've never seen, a book is not just ink on a piece of paper. A book has information in it. Something that evolution could never even come close to explaining. But if there is a divine designer, a God who stepped in and created everything, it actually all makes so much sense. It is so logical, and there is so much evidence behind it. So I want to encourage you, keep watching. Every Saturday we're going to put out these Scientific Saturdays. Check out the rest of the channel as well.